Welcome back, and once again, as you guys can see, we're doing another Premier League prediction video. Last season, I think I got 4 teams right, one including the winners, but wasn't really that great. But let's see, hopefully this time will be a little bit better. So first off, of course, we have the defending 4-time Premier League champs, Manchester City, once again winning it. I think Pep goes out on top in this final year. I don't know. He's never given me a reason to to doubt them. I think Arsenal coming close second again, but I just don't think City lose, especially Pep loses to Arteta on his way out. I just can't see. I think City will find a way to win. They found a way last year to win it, and with the odds stacked against them, I can't imagine that they'll lose it this year either. But Arsenal second and Liverpool third, which means the top three the same as last year. I just think those 3 teams on a different tier. I do think those City and Arsenal kind of in their own tier. Then it goes Liverpool, but I still think Liverpool, even with Klopp leaving, still have a pretty good squad there. They have a pretty deep squad. I think pretty talented. I don't think they'll be. They haven't really lost many players. They haven't signed many players, but I think they'll be fine. Fourth, we do have Spurs, and this one's an interesting one because Spurs start off the season. I think for a while they were in first until they got hit with a bunch of injuries when they played Chelsea. They do have the talent there. There's a lot of questions about the coach, about their style. Are they going to keep playing this high-risk football? I think they're good enough to get top 4, especially with now Solanke going over. I think that makes a big change. I think you have Son, Solanke. Those 2 are going to score goals. I can see them just beating top 4 and just edging them out. They are going to just edge out Manchester United. I think Manchester United, good squad. This is pretty much Ten Hag's last redemption. If he manages to get this, he doesn't get this right, I think he gets sacked pretty soon. But they have a good squad. They've got a lot of new signings. There's definitely talent there, and especially the way they play against City just shows you that they can compete against the best of the best. They don't necessarily have the players, but their style, there's something there. But they've got a lot of bright young stars coming up. You've got Garnacho, Kobe Mainoo, just a few. Even Diallo. Could be another breakout year for them. But I think they just finished 5th. I think they'll get it right this year. In 6th, we have Villa. And this one interesting because had a really great season last time out. Finished in the top 4 last season. Was amazing. Ollie Watkins, unbelievable. John McGinn. But the problem is they do lose their best player in Douglas Luiz. I just think they just lost too many key players. They lost Diaby as well. But I just don't know if they have what it takes to get back into the top 4, especially with Champions League football and the new format. I think it'd take a lot for them to get back into Champions League football. And in 7th, I have Newcastle. Newcastle, this is where it gets interesting because last year they had a pretty down year. Got hit with injuries. Defense was all over the place. Just could not stop conceding. But you look at their attack, and their attack is, it's up there with some of the best of the best. Obviously Arsenal and City, Liverpool even. We talk about just attacking teams, but Newcastle, Isak, Gordon, Harvey Barnes, Bruno Guimaraes. They have a lot of superstar talent in that attack, and I think they could actually go on a run. If their defense just becomes a little better, I could also see them getting top 4. I think they'll chase. I think they might just get that last European spot, and the one team that misses out is unfortunately Chelsea. As you guys know, fan of Chelsea, but this year is going to be really difficult for us to piece together a good season. I think I probably would have Chelsea a little bit higher with Poch as the manager, but under Enzo, I mean, I think there's maybe a little bit more of a future for Chelsea in the long term run than with Poch, but I just don't think short term wise. I don't think it works out. Whether or not they give him time is another question. And yeah, as I was going on about Chelsea, I just don't think they have enough superstar talent. I think Cole Palmer is going to be good. I think we'll have a good season again. But the supporting cast around him just isn't good enough. At least in my opinion, to get a Europe spot. But right behind them in ninth are West Ham. And to be fair, West Ham's another team that could very well finish in Europe. I think West Ham, they've got a lot of, they had some good signs, got a lot of young talent. I think with the new manager, there could be, I mean, we could easily see them finishing the top 10, but then again, they're not very consistent, so it'll be hard to see them really inside of Europe, at least for now. But maybe things will change as we go along. In 10th, Everton. This one's interesting because last year, looking back at it, statistically, they didn't have the greatest season, but I mean, you kind of take away those point deductions. I think they finished with it inside the top 10 almost, if not just outside. But I mean, I think Everton, Sean Dyche, I mean, he's done some great things. I mean, not, it's going to be hard because they might lose. I don't know if they, I think Braithwaite's gone. Either he has gone or he's going to go. Can't remember, but Everton, it'll be interesting to see. They've got a good squad. Defense, I mean, defense is their motto, and they're rock solid. Really good at home. I just don't know. Away from home, though, they've really struggled. So I don't know if they can really edge. I think they just get inside the top 10, but it's not by much. And right behind them is Palace. And Palace, it's interesting. A lot of young talent as well. But obviously losing Elise is that's gonna hurt them quite a bit. But they do have some very good stars in Eze and Mateta, Anderson as well. I think they'll finish just inside the bottom half. I think 8 through like 12 are gonna finish within like 5 points of each other. And the last team, and that's like Brighton. Brighton again had a pretty bad season last season. Wasn't the Brighton that we're used to seeing. They didn't have the right players. I think this year, new manager. I think they're kind of gonna. I think they'll be a little better. I don't think they're gonna play the exact same type of style as they did before, but I think they'll be able to make better adjustments. I do have them a little bit lower because they don't really have a superstar to rely on, but I mean, their overall squad's pretty good. Fulham in 13th. It'll be interesting. The biggest thing will be how does Emmitt Smith-Rowe does, because if he can go back to the Arsenal days, you could see I could easily see Fulham inside the top 10, pushing maybe for Europe, but I think there's some pieces, but the big thing is losing Paulina hurts them. But 14th, Brentford. To be honest, this one's going to be a tough one for Brentford. They did manage to keep Tony somehow through this season. Couldn't tell you how. I think Tony kind of wants to leave as well, so how that work? They do have Mbeumo Wissa as well, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a great season, but I don't think it's going to be terrible. Now, on 15th, I do have Wolves, and I actually really like Wolves. The one thing that killed them is obviously losing Neto to Chelsea. I think that was a huge loss for them. In terms of their attack, they do have some good attackers. I think the pieces are there. I just don't think they are going to be as good as they were last year with their attack, and I think their defense has some holes in it as well. But 16th, Bournemouth, this one, I had Bournemouth really high last season. Biggest reason I don't have them that high is Solanke going to Spurs. Solanke going to Spurs really kills that attack off, and I mean, last season he was a one-man wrecking show. I mean, he was really fun to watch. They're going to suffer without him. I think they're going to be in a relegation battle for the most part of the year. I think they'll kind of just edge it out toward the last few game weeks, but I don't think it'll be as... I don't think they'll have nearly as good a season as they had last season. In 17th, and the only team that got promoted I have staying up is Ipswich. Ipswich, purely, mostly because of the manager and the fan base. I actually really like the manager. I think he did, I mean, they didn't win it, but they did incredibly well in the championship. Really surprised me how well they were able to play. I think they're going to be a surprise team to a lot. I think they're probably the most informed team coming into the championship. And I'll get to why I think they're going to be better than Leicester when I get to Leicester as well. But I just think they're going to have just enough talent. I think they'll just edge out the next two teams that are in the relegation zone. I just think they have not a little bit more talent, but they haven't lost as many key players as the other relegated sides have. So, in 18th, Forest. Forest, to be honest, how they have managed to stay up is something else. That's something else in itself. But Forest, they shouldn't be. They really shouldn't be in the Premier League. They kind of get away with it. They do have some good stars. Chris Wood, I mean, when he feels like scoring, he's probably one of the better. I mean, he could be a top 10 striker in the Premier League when he's on his day, but then again, his day doesn't come very often, to be honest. In 19th, Leicester City. Leicester City, great championship run. They're used to the Premier League. They've been here before. Only problem is they've kind of really gotten hurt. Or they've gotten a lot of key players left. Dewsbury Hall leaving them kills them, and the manager leaving. Not the best way you want to go entering the Premier League again. I just don't think they have enough talent to stay in with those two key losses. They could surprise. I think they have the most well-rounded team. New manager, filling some key holes. I just don't think it'll happen. I think they'll get relegated. And 20th, Southampton. Congratulations for coming up, but I think they're going to do exactly what they did the last time they came up, or the last time they were here, and go straight back down 20th. They've got some good players, but I just don't see enough. But anyway, those are my Premier League predictions. Let me know who you guys have winning it. I know a lot of people have Arsenal. I'm sticking with City until they prove me otherwise. I mean, they've done it 4 years in a row. To be fair, I just don't see why they can't do it 5 years in a row. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.